Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
There is a lot of noise around the US immigration.
What I've discovered in India is that a lot of the immigration work is happening through visa consultants. These individuals have never practiced immigration law in the US.
What is the top 5 opportunity available in US for India in 2026?
Depends on the business. Is it offering a good? Is it offering a service? Or is it offering some sort of technical application?
What are the 3 businesses or services if I want to start from India to US?
Natural herbs and like all these kind of things are indigenous to India.
What is the 2 key business which is not available in the US?
That company that was offering these natural products indigenous to India, these herbs and these Ayurveda medications and solutions, I think that they will do really well in the US market.
If I can say for an Indian student, what is the smartest way if they want to build a long-term career in US? Do you watch Indian movie?
If you're bad, then I'm your dad.
So I thought that same kind of personality you match with. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. It's been a wonderful time here in India. It's been 5 weeks.
Okay.
It was only supposed to be 1 week, but I'm just discovering a lot about your wonderful country and just exploring and sharing what information I have. But more importantly, I'm learning. So it's been wonderful.
Great. So thank you for your time. You came and welcome to India.
Thank you.
Great. So shall we start? So Shan, I still remember when I met with you in Startup Mahakumbh event. You know, once that moment I see you, I recognize the one person who is in the film industry, Avengers, the character who's played Sam Wilson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I thought that same kind of personality you match with. All right.
Yeah. I've discovered so much. I've been practicing law, in particular immigration law, for about 24 years.
Oh.
And I started out in immigration law, not with any clear intentions, but I love this area. And the reason why I love this area of the law is because I get to meet people.
Oh.
I get to meet people from all over the world. I'm in Los Angeles. Many of my clients are from Latin America. Then I have clients from Africa, Asia, Europe, and now importantly from India. In the last 5 to 10 years, a large portion of my clients are from India.
Okay.
And I'm learning about Indian culture and about some of the immigration issues unique to Indians.
Okay. So I'll come to that point by point to your whole journey. I just want you curious, at what stage of the immigration journey do you come into the picture?
Well, there's an ideal stage that I should come into the picture, but there's the reality of when I come into the picture.
Yeah, I just want to look at that.
Right. The reality of when I come into the picture is when individuals, a student, a business owner, a corporation, a tech founder, someone seeking investment, is when they think they need to handle that part. When they think that, okay, I've done these things, now I need to take care of this part. And they see the immigration part as just a transactional part. But I think that's not the proper way to look at it. I meet clients where they're at. They come to me with their situations and I help them with that situation from that point on. But in the ideal situation, when you're planning, when you have that ideal, when you're a young person, you're thinking about studying in the US.
Yeah.
And your parents say, I'm going to send my child to the US.
Yeah.
Or you are a tech founder, you've created something. Or you're saying, hey, I have this business in Pune and I want to raise money.
Okay.
The immigration attorney should be a part of the planning,
Okay.
the thought process. But the reality is that it's an afterthought. that causes some issues.
So I'll come to that. What issues, point by point. We will discuss on that. So you talk about the business companies, startups. You are in India from since a few weeks.
Yes.
So for Indian investor founders who are looking to enter the US, what is the biggest challenges they should prepare for?
Well, I think I love to learn about what they're creating. Like what's your business about? What are you creating? So a lot of times people will come to me and ask, what visa do I need to come to the U.S. to raise investments, or what visa do I need to open up an office or sell my services or my products? And yes, of course, I can help them with that. But I'm really interested in what are you making? What are you building? Because the more I know, the more I can help them to plan, so we can be not that they can be successful, so that we can be successful.
Yeah.
And some of my most successful clients were really good friends. I've known them for years. I was just in Pune, and I see him every year. He comes to San Francisco, and we raise money for him.
Okay.
And he hires about 200 people in Pune, and he comes every year. He lives in Pune. His family's in Pune. His employees in Pune.
How much money they raised for the startup?
I mean, it could be anywhere from several hundreds of thousands to several millions of dollars. It's because there's something very unique. Recently, we had that big AI conference in India.
Yeah, AI summit you were talking
The
about?
AI summit. Okay. And if you pay attention, you will notice that most of the influential speakers and guests were from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, I was there. I cover all kind of all the events on our channel. Mm-hmm. So that's amazing experience.
Yeah, the biggest thing I have to share to anyone who's looking to raise money for their business, we're in a very, very unique time in history. We have a global world. India and the EU are entering into agreements. India is progressively entering into trade agreements with many different countries. But there's a unique opportunity, a unique once in a lifetime opportunity that exists. And most of the capital and investment money in the US is coming from one small little area. All of those people at the AI Summit, they were from San Jose, the Bay Area, San Francisco. Okay. It represents more than 65% of all the investment capital in the US. And so that's a tremendous opportunity. That's a tremendous opportunity. And just to go and just to see. If you're starting a business and you're looking to raise money, whether or not it's in India, it's in France, it's in Nigeria, you have to be in the Bay Area because that's where the opportunities are.
Yeah, great. We'll talk about that opportunity, of course. And I'm so curious about to know that. Shan, there is a lot of noise around the US immigration policy changes, how Indian students, founders, or I can say investor actually interpret these changes in practical terms.
The one thing in the climate that we live in, social media, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
In immigration in the U.S. and probably in every country, the immigration laws come from the Congress of the country. However, the policies and how it's executed comes from the administration, which is in our country is the executive branch. There have been no major changes in the immigration law in over 50 years. There have been no changes. The changes that we're hearing is noise, and it's the policy focus of this current administration. This current administration is very unique, and that's what I'll say about that. And some of the policies may change day to day.
Yeah, okay.
And so that being said, it is important to be aware of the policies, to know if I'm a student or a business owner, how do these policies affect me? And how do I plan based on the policy? So the opportunities are still there.
Yeah.
In order to get this visa for a business, you need A, B, and C. That hasn't changed. What has changed is how do I package, how do I present my A, B, and C so that my visa is favored.
Oh,
So in some ways, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, but you kind of have to understand what are the policies and how should I position my application in a different way so I can take advantage of those policies.
okay. So you mean to say like the noise around immigration from the social media?
Yes.
So we need to cross check or we need to verify is that validate
Mhm.
is true or not?
Yeah, it's kind of if in anything in our lives, if we want to verify it,
Yeah,
we have to go to the source.
yeah.
You
We
know,
have to go to the source.
Yeah, I had all these ever since I was a kid. I love being in India because ever since I was a kid, I wanted to come,
Okay.
and I had these wild ideals. It was going to be like this. It was going to be like this. But not until you're here, not until you start to make friendships, not until you start to walk the streets, that you can see it with your own eyes. So the way that we verify the source is not through social media or through what our cousin said or this. What I've discovered in India is that a lot of the immigration work is happening through visa consultants.
Yeah, yeah.
But these individuals have never practiced immigration law in the U.S.
Mm.
They've never been to an immigration court in the
I'll come
U.S.
to that point.
Yeah.
It's very sensitive point.
Yeah,
Especially for the Indian student. Also.
yeah. I guess what I would say is that all information is valuable.
Yeah, yeah.
But the question is, let me get as much information as I can, and let me speak to someone who does it
Yeah.
every day
Yeah,
in real time.
real time. Of course, we need to talk. We need to consult with the right person
Yes,
who can give a good advice.
yes, yes, yes,
Correct advice.
yes,
Right.
yes.
If I can say for an Indian student,
hmm
what is the smartest way if they want to build a long-term career in US?
Well, I love this question because my favorite thing. We met at a startup Makum in Delhi, where I spoke with founders and businesses who were looking to seek investment. But after that was, I believe, March 9th. But after that, I traveled the entire country and I was visiting universities and I was speaking to students
Oh,
and I was asking them, what are your dreams? Why are you studying this? And I was telling them what they need to do,
okay.
So I was telling them we need to plan, we need to have multiple options, not just to, come to the US to study, but there are different visas to study. The most common one is the F1, but there are also other visas. Also, you can do research. And also, let's talk about once you complete your education, how do you get the right visa to get the job you want? So there are multiple, we know there's a lot of noise about the H1B,
Yeah.
but there are many other visas for work.
Yeah,
You know.
that's the wonderful thing. Everyone should want to know because today time H1B visa is very highlight
Yes, yes,
during the pricing.
yes.
So we will talk about that. The next point is if anything you also want to add on to this.
Yeah, I was telling this young man, I was so impressed with him. I felt like he was my son, right? He was my son in Mohali.
Okay.
So I was telling him, he came to me after the class and he was like really excited. I gave him my information, said, contact me. And he was just in his bachelor's studying. I think he was studying, it was an engineering program. And I said, really think about, what you want to do with your future. And it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, but just think about it. So I was telling him all the different ways, the different types of visa, because we were talking about H1B. I said, that's just one type, but there are about 5 other types. And so let's have a conversation now so you can start preparing. So by the time you complete your bachelor's or by the time you complete your master's, you have all these other options available. And you're preparing now so that you can explore these other visa options for employment. And with these visa options for employment, an individual becomes very, very attractive to multiple companies around the world. So, if someone were to speak to me about that once they completed their education, once they were able to make that step, I would talk to them, but I would love to talk to them before.
Oh.
So we can plan.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is the planning.
Yeah. So you're talking about the visa. H1B visa is getting so much highlight.
Mhm.
How much type of visa are there? if instead of H1B, we
Mhm.
have any other options.
Yes. Yeah.
And what is the type we can talk about?
So there are different types. So the way that the visas work is, think about as an immigration.
We can talk. We can talk about 1, 2, 3, like number 1, number 2, number 3.
Oh, sure. So one visa is called an EB1.
EV1.
EB, like employment base 1,
Okay.
employment base 2,
Oh.
O1.
Okay.
And there are multiple types under that. Those are the broad categories. So in the US, they call it the Einstein visa. It's for people,
Einstein.
you've heard, like, they're very, very exceptional. They're very brilliant. Or there's another visa called the national interest waiver. So if you're doing like cybersecurity or you're doing some sort of work and it benefits the national interest. And there's another visa for people who want to start their own business or they're outstanding. And so they apply for these different visas. Now these visas have different criteria. And a lot of times when as a fresher, when we complete our education, we may not have that criteria. But if it were my son, what I would say is that now that you're first year at university, I want you to write this paper. I want you to participate in this competition.
Yeah.
I want you to get what you're making, get it protected by IP protection. So by the time that this young man or young woman is finished, they can apply for those visas.
Yeah.
And they don't need an H1B.
Yeah.
And so,
but most of the people don't know about the visa. That's why I asked this question. Everybody should know. We have any other option also.
Yeah. You said the magic words.
Yeah.
You only can do what you know.
Yeah.
So if you don't know,
yeah.
you can't explore that option.
Yeah, exactly.
And these kids were so intelligent. They were so brilliant. And so when I shared that to them, I said, they said, "Oh, really? This is what I need to do?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So it kind of opened their eyes up for the possibilities.
Great. Shan, if I go for a business opportunity, what is the top 5 opportunity available in US for India
Mm-hmm.
in 2026?
Okay. So it really depends on the business.
Yeah.
And it depends on what the business is. It depends on the business, the nature of what the business does, what it's offering. Is it offering a good? Is it offering a service? Or is it offering some sort of technical application? It depends on in what stage the business. Is it an existing business?
Okay.
That's been,
So we can say, let's talk about AI.
Okay.
AI in India, everywhere, everybody in every industries, AI is putting.
Yeah.
If they allow or they don't allow.
Yeah.
So if in 2026, with the help of AI.
Okay. So for that type of business, I'm creating a business, and my platform is based on AI.
Oh.
So I imagine that would be a relatively new business.
Yeah.
And so, and I would imagine that business would want to get funding and money to grow their business.
Yeah.
And so what I would do for that, so it all starts with a conversation. Like, who are you? What are you building?
Yeah.
How does it work? Share that with me. Then once I understand that, I say, okay, is your business already existing? What market it is? Is it in Delhi? Is it in Bangalore? Is it somewhere else? Or is it a new business? Are you looking for money, the capital? Or are you looking to set up an office? So I have to understand what they're looking for. If they're looking to raise money for their business, what I will do is I will do a visa. It's called an O1 visa. And I will do everything to get them to come to the U.S. and their pockets.
Yeah.
New York is a pocket. In Texas, there's a place called San Antonio. That's a pocket. But the biggest pocket is SF, San Francisco.
Okay, San Francisco.
They come, they pitch, they pitch for funding and money, and that helps them to build. But that's an O1 visa. For the business that you described, that's an O1 visa, and it is to come to the U.S. to expand your AI platform.
Yeah. What are the 3 businesses or services if I want to start from India to US?
At the startup, Malcolm, I don't know if you remember where we were at. My office had come to India. I have some team members who are in India, but we had come to India, And right across there was this gentleman, and they had their business had, I imagine, been in their family for many, many years. And it was like natural, I don't know if you recall, they were selling like natural herbs and like all these kind of things that are indigenous to India.
Okay.
So for
Natural hubs.
Herbs, yeah. So they had all of that. And I was curious. I was smelling it. And I was asking, what is this for?
Yeah.
And they were saying, this is for this and this is
Yeah.
for this. Now, a business like that already exists, they can expand into the U.S.
Okay.
on a visa called an L1 visa.
L1 visa.
Yeah, that allows them to set up an office in the U.S.
Okay.
and then distribute and sell their goods in the U.S. For that, you gave the example of like the AI business. They're just getting started. They have like a platform. Usually those individuals are seeking to raise money.
Okay.
So one is I'm going to I have my business here in the U.S. It's been in my family for many years, and we want to expand.
Oh.
So we want to expand what we're selling or offering in the U.S. So we want to have a location there. That's an L1 visa. We set up a location there. They're based in India, but they're able to spread their goods or services in the U.S. market, which is the largest consumer market in the world. That's one, an existing business coming to the U.S. The other one is I'm a tech founder. I have this platform on AI. I want to raise money. Well, where is the money?
Yeah.
I mean, there's money everywhere, but where is the pocket and where is the excitement under AI? If you fly into, my friend, I'm going to invite you to be my guest. You fly, you land in San Francisco, and on every billboard is AI, 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 AI. And so people come there, they meet investors, they share their ideals, they participate in pitch competitions. That's the area where you want to come if you want to raise money for your business. That's the O1. So the O1 is coming to raise money, to talk to investors, and the L1 is coming to set up an office.
Okay. Yeah. Let's you talk about like different types of businesses, hubs, and today I can see in India, very natural product is booming so high, and AI tech founders, and every single day when I wake up early morning, I got news. Oh, this AI company is coming to now. This AI technology is using this for particular services. So, and you are here from a few weeks in India. What is the two key business that you see here in India, which is not available in the US?
Oh, surprisingly, in the U.S., there are a lot of Indian nationals who have come there to study.
Okay.
And they're creating companies, and these are platforms and AI companies. And so we see a lot of that. We see a lot of that in India as well, in Bangalore. A lot of that, these tech companies, these tech founders, their businesses are centered around AI, which is the technology of today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow may be something else. But what I don't see in the U.S., which I think is amazing opportunity, is one, the arts. When I say the arts, I mean like what we're doing, social media influencers, entertainers. I'm a musician, by the way.
Oh, wow.
If I didn't share that with you.
Oh.
And I came here to speak about visas, but I'm also exploring the culture of music. So the arts, that the business of the arts is be very, very exciting to come to the U.S. to explore those opportunities. And also, I mentioned that company that was offering these natural products indigenous to India, these herbs and these Ayurveda medications and solutions. Those things that are unique here, I think that they will do really well in the U.S. market.
Oh.
So we know AI, it's all over the world, but there's certain things that are unique to Indian culture that I think will do really well in the U.S. And surprisingly, I think last year, I'm from the state of California.
Okay.
And the governor in the state of California made Mohali a state holiday because there's such a great influence of Indian nationals in the state of California.
Oh.
So the culture.
Last year, 2025?
2025. It's like, and so, the reason why is because individuals who come to the U.S. to study, rather than they've started building businesses, they're becoming very successful, and they're having like a footprint in the culture.
Yeah.
And because they're having a footprint in the culture,
Yeah.
The government and the state is starting to recognize that.
Yeah.
Right, they're starting to recognize that, and they're doing really, really well. They're doing really, really well. So Diwali had became a state recognized holiday. I can't wait to Holi becomes a state recognized holiday. But you know, the population in California is doing really well. They're successful. Yeah, there are challenges. I'm not going to minimize that there are
Yeah,
challenges,
of course.
but it's for all of us. We're all better because there's a new culture that's being integrated into it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Shan, you are in the immigration business from last 20 or 25 years.
Mhm.
If any students or founder come to you for immigration, how do you guide them through the process?
My first step is I try to get to know them, and I just listen, and I ask them like some questions. What are you looking to build? What's your next step? What's your dream? And so that's different from a student or business owner. Like, what is, because a lot of times people will come to me and say, hey, I need a visa for that. I say, great, but before we decide what visa it is, share with me what you're doing.
Yeah.
And once they share with me what they're doing, I can say, oh, now I understand. I'm listening. I'm asking them questions. And based on the information that they're sharing with me, we can plan. So the first step that I do is I just listen to their ideals. The next thing I do is I understand, like, where are you at in your evolution? Where are you at in your stage? Are you just beginning? Are you established? And then so number one, where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Number two, where are you right now?
Yeah.
And then number three, what things that you have in place? So if it's a business, do I have intellectual property protection in place? Do I have an entity in place? Like, am I incorporated or not? Do I have my finances in place? So I'm like, what are your dreams? What do you want to do? Where are you now? What stage are you in now? Beginning or middle or established? And number three, I call it an architecture. Like, what elements do you have in place?
Oh.
So we can make sure we put everything in place so that when we launch, you are really prepared to be successful.
Oh.
So, but that's a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a conversation.
Yeah. I realized my own mantra.
Mhm.
I heard and I'm implementing for myself from last 10 years.
Mhm.
If I want to do something or want to achieve any goal,
Mhm.
of course, I'm not able to that level to achieve that goal.
Mhm.
But my mantra, I allow myself, Rahul, if I want to go to that place or I want to launch my product, what I have today, right now, and what I can do right now, and what is my own criteria, my own strength.
Mhm.
You know, if I want to build 100 crore business, I don't have any investment, but I have that small amount of money
Mhm.
which I can do.
Mhm.
I have my own capability. I have 2 people of my resources I
Mhm.
can do, and the resources I can utilize.
Mhm.
If once I reach to the second level, two stairs, then I will go next to next. That's
Right.
my own mantra.
Right.
And thanks for the sharing.
And what you said, very personal, is how I work. It's the same formula. It's the same. I don't like to use formula, but it's the same process. It's like, what is my ideal? What is my dream? What is my
Yeah.
aspiration? Where am I at now? What do I have in place, and what do I need to put in
Yeah.
place? I have been an immigration attorney for many years, but I don't see myself as an immigration attorney per se. I see myself as an immigration attorney, an immigration strategist. And what a strategy means that I take a set of information that I learn from an individual, and I take that information and we strategize how to move forward.
Yeah.
And then I see myself as a consultant. So it's not immigration attorney where it's just transactional.
Yeah.
It's a strategist and it's a consultant. And I think the most important of those three is the consulting.
Yeah.
You know, If you're going to build something, you're around your table and you're talking to your business partners or your partner, you start to like talk about these ideals. And I really want to be a part of that conversation.
So, you have seen many cases, and you also, heard a lot of stories. What are the biggest mistake Indian makes while applying for the US visa?
Well, it is that whether or not it's a student or whether or not it's a business owner, the biggest mistake that I see is that the individual will engage with the immigration attorney when they think I need to do the immigration part.
Oh,
And they'll come to me, I'll see where they're at. And I say, okay, we need to do A, B, and C to get you where you want to be.
yeah,
But it's the biggest mistake because if I had that conversation with them earlier, if we had a consultation, then we could plan in a way that your case is smooth. It's the consultation, right? Can I give you an example?
yeah. Go ahead.
Say, for instance, in your mind, you had this dream, you're going to build this dream home.
Yeah,
And so the dream happens in your mind. You know what it looks like. You know where it's going to be. You know what kind of wood you're going to use. You have this ideal in your mind. And then say, for instance, you start to go execute that.
yeah,
And when you go execute that, you buy a piece of land and you start to hire people to start building it.
okay,
And then in that stage, you realize, hey, I need to get another electrician, or hey, I need to get a plumber
yeah,
to help me finish this project.
yeah,
Now imagine that electrician. A lot of times what I see is that individuals, not just Indians, but Indian individuals and people that I meet all over the world, they see the immigration attorney as the electrician. And so I come in and they'll say, hey, I need this visa. And so I'll come in and I'm looking at the house and say, you need a visa, like electrician, immigration attorney. They've already built the house. But I have to work with what I have. So the house is already built. I need to figure out where things go
yeah,
based on what I already have. But if they would have had a conversation with me at the time they had the dream, at the time they were planning, we could be much more effective, right? And so you want to have your immigration solution and your immigration partner
yeah,
at the early stages, right? And then, like, I've never had a case in my entire 20 years that hasn't been successful when we've partnered at the beginning. But when we come in as an afterthought, that's where you kind of, you're working with what you have.
yeah,
And it creates a limitation unnecessarily, So my job is not just to figure out when something is a problem. Like you bring in the attorney when something is a problem.
yeah.
My job is really to plan in the beginning so there is no problem, and so that we're successful.
Okay. Cool. Good. If the people is watching right now, they will understand that you are not an electrician.
No, I can do it, and I do it all the time. Someone comes to me and say, "Hey, I need this visa," and they've already registered the company. They've already hired their employees and say, "Hey, I need this
Yeah.
visa." And so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
But if we were talking a year ago or 2 years ago, ahead of time, it would have been probably more effective, quicker, and sometimes more efficient. But like in life, you kind of you handle things as they come.
Yeah. Shan, what kind of people are not eligible for H1B visa? Like, see, you understand. For a student, graduate, masters, plus 10, plus 2, in which category startup, any kind of is not eligible, like 3 or 3, 4 kind of people.
So as I mentioned earlier, the laws haven't changed. The law regarding H1B is a temporary employment visa that can be renewed. those laws or those rules haven't changed. You still need A, B, and C. The A, you need to be someone who's completed a higher education, like a bachelor's degree or a master's degree.
Okay, at least bachelor degree.
At least a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And I'm talking in general. The B is that you need a company who's willing to sponsor you.
Okay.
Like a Google or a Coca-Cola or a Tata. Companies willing to
sponsor me to invite me to come and to work with you.
To write exactly. So that there are other requirements, but I'm just giving the basic requirements.
Yeah.
None of those requirements have changed.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of people who are not eligible? It's not that the requirements have changed. It's that who we're going to select. Right. So right now, this administration imposed a penalty.
Oh.
It's called the $100,000 penalty. And so for companies, if you want to hire someone and you want to use that H1B, if the person is applying for the H1B and they're outside of the US, like they're in India and they're applying for the H1B, then the companies, there's an assessment, would have to invest $100,000. So a company is gonna do that very, very sparingly.
Yeah.
That's only going to be the top of the top.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I tell people that there are other visas other than the H1B. What has changed, to answer your question, is that for those people who are applying for the H1B in the US, is that it's a lottery system. So there's only so many H1Bs, and they've allotted the majority of them to more senior and higher tiered workers, right? And so if I'm a fresher, I still can apply for the H1B, but there are fewer of them.
Okay.
If I'm a mid-career person or a senior career person, there are more of them. So it's not that the requirements have changed. It's just that there's just more opportunities for the more senior people.
So why I ask this question, I see a lot of people around me in many cities. And recently the incident happened when I came back from Delhi to Chandigarh. I hired a taxi, and the taxi driver was told me that I want to go to the US. I have the money, but I just want to go, and I will figure it out, and I will check that what kind of business I can start, and I will do it. But he's only, I think, 10 plus 10th, not having the graduation. So is that possible?
Yeah.
Or what kind?
Yeah. So in immigration, I describe my job as that. Some sort of, you're an immigration attorney. What is that? Because I teach in college. It's an immigration attorney. What is that? As an immigration attorney, all that means is that I speak to people who are not U.S. citizens about how they move to the U.S. Sometimes that can be for humanitarian reasons. They're seeking asylum. It could be family reasons. They're looking to unite with family members. It can be employment. It can be study. It can be business. So for this individual that you're describing, who has this dream, when we talk about the dream, he has this aspiration. I would sit with him and I have a plan.
Okay.
Now, the H1B wouldn't be available for him because he doesn't have the required education. But he may be able to start a business.
Yeah.
He may be able to get an O visa. He may be able to get a B visa to come and explore. He may be able to get a tourist visa because he has the money.
So Shan, if someone doesn't get selected for in H1B visa, and what is the other alternative they should consider immediately?
It depends on who the person is.
Okay.
And what their accomplishments have been. So if someone is applying for the H1B and they don't get selected, one very, very popular visa right now is the O1.
O1.
That's currently that is the preferred choice over the H1, and it has like a high or a 90-something% success rate. So the O1, but you got to have those requirements. But there's also an EB1 and EB2. But today, the O1 is for those people who are not eligible to get the H1B. Many, not all, but many of them are going for the O1. Some of them may be going for the other ones, but the O1 is today seems to be the one that is the perfect fit.
Okay. Today for India, we have very sensitive point talk about the price. I just want to get the truth. How much price for H1B visa for business purpose?
So there's the assessment fee that companies have to pay, which is really prohibitive. A company is not going to pay that unless they're trying to get the top talent for a talent that's out. Say for instance, someone who's really accomplished in India. Yeah, the company's going to pay for them, because they're very talented. But that's not for most of us.
How much fees?
The fees.
Yeah.
So it really depends on their stage, right? It can be anywhere for a couple of $1,000 or less.
$1,000?
Yeah, or it can be more, because depending on that question depends on where they're at.
So what is the renewal fees? The government has increased right now.
So I'm not sure what the renewal fees are right now, but now we just got up the H1B registration.
Yeah.
So you have to register, and that is about $250.
$250?
Yes. Okay. And you apply to register, and then that means you apply to register, and if you get picked, then you can apply for the visas.
I still, I got some kind of news. Maybe I don't know if that's the true or not. Government is charging around $98,000, around $1 lakh.
I'm not sure what
is that. I'm not sure.
I can tell you 100% it's not $98,000.
Okay.
That's not true. That's not true. Okay. To participate in the H1B lottery, there's a fee, and I believe it's about $250 to register. That's what the government is charging.
Yeah, okay.
Many attorneys don't charge for that. Some do, some don't, because it's
so fees is still the same, $250.
Yeah, there are two fees, right?
Okay.
There's the fee that the attorney charges to do the work.
And how much that attorney charges?
Some attorneys don't charge.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll explain to you why.
Yeah.
And then there's the government fees. So to participate in the lottery, you have to pay a fee to the government. I believe it's $250. It may be slightly different, but it's around that ballpark. You pay that fee and you get to participate.
I see many videos around YouTube. So much of noise that U.S. government is the renewal, the charge around $1 lakh, and the people who is I'll come to the point. People come who is doing a job. How they will companies paying for that. I don't know that.
I don't think that's accurate. Okay. The one thing we have to understand is that the H1B has different stages.
Okay.
So the first stage is that I don't know, and the lottery system where they pull a number out. The first stage, you have to participate in the lottery. So you register for the lottery. It's a very small fee in the context of the U.S., about $250 to participate in that. Some attorneys will charge to do the process, but most won't charge. And then if you get picked, then you apply for the actual visa. And so just to understand how that works, like I said again, to consult with an attorney, because there are different stages on the process.
Okay.
But what you mentioned about the $98,000 is absolutely not true, unless someone is taking advantage.
Yeah. Maybe by the team didn't get the right information.
Oh, sometimes things are. Sometimes the information that we have is out of context.
Yeah. Out of it. Yeah. So, if someone on H1B visa and lose their job, and what are the other option? Limited time period they can choose.
So the H1B visa does two things. It establishes for the government that this employer is a real employer and it has the need for this position. But it also establishes that the employee, that the talent has the skills, has the education. So if someone is on an H1B and they lose their job, then they need to find a substitute sponsor, a substitute employer. So if they're working for this company, the company lets them go, they need to find a similar company to continue with the H1B. So that's called a transfer. That's something that we do. And it happens a lot, but usually if they're established, just get another job in another company.
Okay, good. So right now, with the all global uncertainty, or I must say, I could look like a war-like situation.
Mm-hmm.
How has the H1B visa getting harder or difficult?
So for those who are in the U.S., who are already there, who either they're already on an H1B or they finished their education and want to explore H1B, they have to participate in the lottery system.
Okay.
And so, and if their chances are greater if they're more senior. So if it's a fresher, the chances are less. If they have work experience or senior work experience, the chances are higher. We've gotten some of those approved because it just happened like March the 19th that they start selecting. So that's how that works. If they're outside of the U.S., that's where the companies have to pay that assessment, which is like $100,000. And so the H1B policy changes for those who are outside the United States is kind of limited to only the most senior executives, you know. But in the U.S., if you're already there, you just follow the normal process and you find an employer sponsor, and then your chances are increased the more senior you are.
So government is still giving the H1B visa if the people are in the higher position for the company?
Even people in the lower position can get it.
Okay.
It's just that, like say for instance, if this is a hypothetical, this is an example. Say for instance, if there's 100 H1Bs,
Yeah.
only probably 10 or 15 will be for the freshers. 20 or 30 will be for the middle, and the rest will be for the senior.
Oh.
So it's just how they're distributed. So it's still available. It's just the senior and mid-level and senior have a higher opportunity to be picked.
Cool. Today, on the social media, what are the one hard truth about moving to the US, which is not talking by any influencer or any agent or consultant, which you feel that this is the point also we need to mention if someone is not talking about, or like we can say consultant, influencer or agent, any person?
The beautiful thing is that you and I met, and I'm in India, and we're talking again.
Yeah.
And we're coming from different parts of the world to share ideals.
Yeah.
The one thing that's not talked about is the ideal of mobility.
Ideal of mobility.
Right. And I really, and what I mean by that is that all of us, even animals, we move. Like the birds fly south. The herd moves where the water is at. We move, or we'll move to another town to go to get an education.
Yeah.
We move based on where there's opportunities. And when we're talking about immigration, whether or not I'm going to immigrate to Australia or the EU or to the US, is based on, or am I going to stay here?
Yeah.
The question is, where's the opportunity for what I'm trying to achieve? And so what is not being talked about is what I mentioned earlier. In the US, there's a unique opportunity, especially for businesses, if they're looking to raise money or if they're getting into that AI space.
Oh.
That Bay Area, that little ecosystem there's hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars there that is being distributed to those people who have great ideals. So that's what's not being talked about. It's not being talked about, hey, there's an opportunity in the world. There are opportunity pockets. And there's an opportunity pocket in that ecosystem that if you're smart and you have a business and you want to raise money, you need to be in that space. Like my really good friend, he's in Pune.
Okay.
He comes every year. I see him every year.
Pune to US.
Every year he comes in San Francisco.
And what the business he's doing right now?
He has he consults with companies around the world and in India on AI tech solutions.
Oh.
So he comes in and he helps them to build. Sometimes they may already have an ideal and he helps them to implement that, or sometimes he will consult with them about building their application. So he puts together AI tech solutions.
Oh.
And I had a great time after I left Delhi. I went to Mumbai and then we went to Pune, and he met me and we went out to dinner, and he's like, I'll see you in September. Every September he comes. And there's something called Tech Week. So Tech Week is in San Francisco, where hopefully we'll get a toss chest out. So in San Francisco, there's a week, and you fly in, and there's people from all over the world. They come and they just attend they meet different like-minded people, and they just
Yeah.
attend different events for the entire week.
Yeah.
It's like a bar club, in a crawl. They just kind of meet people, and then there's something called Tech Crunch, and there's a lot of conferences where people globally just come there. They learn about new ideals. They learn about what investments and investors are interested in their sector, and they just kind of share ideals. And some of them participate in pitches, or they meet investors one-on-one. They say, "Hey, I'm trying to build this," and so that's the one thing that's not being talked about.
Okay.
Actually, it is being talked about, but that's the one thing that people are not aware.
So I'll know about your friend after this. Many startup, many companies in here and in India, they also want the same kind of tech person. So that's curious for me.
Yeah.
I'll connect with you.
Definitely, 100%.
Right? Cool, good. So you are here in India from since few weeks.
March 2nd.
More?
March 2nd.
Oh, March 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. I think around 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, but it's 5. It's going to be 5 weeks.
5 weeks here.
Yeah.
So, what is the most memorable or surprising experience here you face in India? You want to share like, this thing you will not forget when you come back to the US.
I've had so many.
Yeah.
I had so many. I celebrated my first Holi celebration in Udaipur.
Holi celebration? You did Holi celebration in Udaipur? Wow.
Yeah, and it was so much fun.
Oh.
And I celebrated that. I remember that. Like I told you, I was a musician. I got a chance in Rajasthan in this restaurant. I got a chance to.
So you play there?
I got a chance to.
Oh,
I went to a restaurant to sing with like a traditional band. They're playing the tabla and some sort of other instrument.
So you play the tabla?
I didn't play the tabla. They were just saying the words to me, and I would sing with them. That was a memorable experience. Holi was a memorable experience.
Oh.
When I was in Mumbai, you're in India, you're supposed to eat Indian food, right?
So you like the Indian food, right?
It's a little spicy, but I went to a restaurant. I was sitting by myself, and the family just invited me to their table, and they were just so like welcoming in Mumbai. And so every place I've gone through has been a different experience.
Yeah.
But you asked me my most memorable experience, it was here in Delhi.
In Delhi.
Yeah. So I'm walking the street, and a older gentleman says, "Do you need a ride?" I'm like, "No, I don't need a ride. I'm good." He said, "You need a ride?" I said, "No, I don't need a ride." So I'm walking the street, and he's on a rickshaw, a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
So he's like, walking. I said, "Okay, I'll take a ride." And I started talking to him, and he was telling me where he is. I can show you this. I can show you this. And I spent the whole afternoon with him.
Oh.
We ate together. He took me on these places.
Wow.
He became my best friend.
Oh wow.
He became my best friend. So I was in
nice.
Delhi, and we just was riding around, and I wasn't going anywhere. I was just having an experience with him and having a conversation with him.
Great.
You know, the beautiful thing is that's just two human beings, just connecting.
Oh, great.
You know,
Amazing.
and connecting.
You have been in India so many years. You share your story, your memorable experience. What is the favorite food you like? Spicy.
Everything is spicy.
Everything is spicy.
Not everything is spicy, but I'm building up a tolerance. I'm good now.
Oh.
I don't know what it's called, but it is paneer, like a cheese.
Paneer cheese.
And they grill it.
Okay.
And it's in
Cheese paneer.
Yeah, and it's in a sauce.
Sauce. Okay.
It's like a masala sauce. It's red sauce. That's my favorite thing.
Okay.
That paneer in that sauce with the naan, and that's one of my favorite things.
Naan paneer masala cheese.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I've had so many different things, but that's great.
When we talk about earlier 2 days back live, you also came to Mohali, right?
Yes, yeah. I was in Mohali right before I arrived in Delhi. I was in Mohali.
How was the experience?
It was great. That's where I had a chance to. I was a part of a panel. They were asking about AI and how that's going to impact education. And then also the best part, I was lecturing with students.
Oh.
So one day I was on a panel, and there were people from different parts of the world. And then the next day I had a class. And it was
Class for which student?
They were a mixture, but most of them were engineering students.
Engineering students.
And so
English college?
It's in CGC
Oh,
in Mohali.
I got.
Yeah, so I had a class with them. I was talking to them, and we played a little game. They were at first they weren't talking, but then they were just talking. And we played a little game, and they were asking me questions. And when it was finished, I had to go somewhere else, but they were all like coming, asking questions. But like I said, I've been an immigration attorney for over 23 years, but I love teaching. I love teaching in the classroom with young people because they're our future.
What's the feeling of energy over there when you're teaching to them?
So I'll tell you. So I'm there on the stage on a podium.
Okay.
And I'm presenting. I'm talking about mobility.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about how to move and how to make your dreams come true and opportunities. Okay. I'm doing this, and I asked the young people. I said, "Who's here from Mohali? Okay. Raise your hand." No one raised their hand. Who's from Mumbai? No one raised their hand. Who's from Delhi? No one raised their hand. And I said, okay. And I said, I'm from California. And then I left the podium and I went down in front, and they gave me a microphone. And so I said, you guys, I came here because I want to help you to kind of understand what you're doing in the career. And I want you guys to share with me what you want to do so I can help you. We can have a conversation on how to do that. So I started to walk closer and closer, and there's this young man, kind of reminds me of my son. He was sitting there, and the closer I got, his eyes just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Oh. And so I said, hold this. So I gave him the mic, and he was like shaking. And I said, what's your name? And he told me his name. He says, this is my name, sir. And I said, I can't hear you. And so he says, this is my name, sir. And so as he was saying his name, I was backing further away. Oh. And I said, hold the mic with both hands. So he held the mic with both hands, and he said it again. I said, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I said, I'm old. I can't hear you. I said, just hold it there. And he said his name. Now he's getting frustrated. He said, this is my name, sir. And so I said, oh, great. I said, how old are you? Oh, I'm 20, sir. What are you studying? He said he was studying, I think, some engineering program. I said, this is great. That wasn't so hard, was it?
Yeah.
He says, no, sir. And I said, I have a hard question for you right now. He says, oh, what? He says, I said, what's your favorite number? And he says, sir? I said, what's your favorite number? He says, 7, sir. And I said, great. Pass the mic 7 down. So he took the mic and he passed it 7 down.
Okay.
So randomly another person got the mic. And so I would go through the audience asking them questions about what they're studying, what do they want to do, how old they were, where they're from. And then I was showing them how you do that, what the visas are. And then at the end of every question, I would ask them, what's your favorite number? Or when's your birthday? And so they would just pass the mic randomly to different people. Then they started to get excited.
Yeah.
They started to participate. Then they were raising their hands. And the professor said, we can never get them to speak. We can never get them to speak. But then after it, we had such a great time. These kids, these young people, they have such great ideals. They got a chance to speak.
So what is the idea behind all this activity, you think?
The same thing I said, you asked me a question earlier, like, what do people need to do to be successful with their visas?
Yeah.
It's about talking.
Yeah.
It's about, I consider myself a spiritual person. And what we are all gifted with is the ability to kind of wake up and enjoy what's been given to us. The sun, our families, and we all wake up with a dream.
Yeah.
So all I was asking these young people to do is like, whatever you're dreaming, just to put it into motion, manifest it, take the necessary actions.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be right. Just take those next steps.
Do you believe in the manifestation?
100%.
Great.
100%. We all, the gift that we have every day we wake up with a new dream.
Yeah.
Just not all of them, but some days just write them down. Write them down and just take that next step. Yeah. So that's what I was really trying to, that was my purpose. My purpose was just share your dreams, write them down, and take that next step. And the first step is just to write it down. The second step is just to have a conversation or just to say it out loud. And so for these companies or students or people looking for investment money and they want to do this, just manifest that.
Yeah.
Consult, talk, speak. Don't make it an afterthought. And so I think a lot of people in the immigration space, they run into complications when they make the immigration part an afterthought, and we're not having these conversations.
Yeah.
And I can invite people to have conversations. I invite people to talk to me, because then we can say, hey, I can say, hey, that's a great idea. You need to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Or I suggest you do this. So it's just really about what we're doing right now, talking.
Great. Do you watch Indian movie?
I watched one. My best friend, and he's from New Delhi, and I even before coming to India, like for 2 years, I've been eating Indian food.
Yeah.
We were having a spice test, right? So you start off very mild, and every month gets spicier and spicier. It's like, I'm preparing you to go to India. But we would watch these clips of these Bollywood movies.
Which movie?
I don't know the names, but
do you remember the dialogue or any action?
Well, one movie I watched, it was a police officer.
Yeah.
And he was like really, really tough.
Okay.
He was a police officer, and he would get into situations, and I think he got beat up, but then he kind of had some sort of like change.
Yeah.
And then he would just solve crimes, and he'd be dancing. Like, why are you dancing? Like, why? He pulls out the gun. I love to dance. I love to dance. I'm a musician. I love to dance. I love music. I love people. I love energy. But it's like when I say when I come to India, all the food is spicy, and every movie, everyone's dancing. Yeah. So it was fun. I watched that coming over when I was flying to India. It was like a police movie with the officer was just dancing through everything. I thought that was so entertaining.
Okay. One small activity.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you the dialogue.
Okay.
You just repeat that.
Okay.
Okay. That's the dialogue of movie, very famous movie of KGF.
Okay.
Movie name is KGF. You know, dialogue in English.
Okay.
Right? If you are bad, I'm your dad. Just speak. I just want to know how you.
What's my character? If you're bad, then I'm your dad. That's how I would do it. That's how I would do it.
Great. I just talked earlier, and I came back to my home. I saw this person, the Avengers movie, Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, I know Anthony.
Yeah, I talked about. I told my wife, this gentleman face is similar to look like this movie star.
I know him. I know him.
Amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah.
If you are not on the work, what is the perfect day you look like when you are completely out of your work and just doing things you enjoy?
This morning, when I was preparing to come here, I was in Delhi. I came here, but this morning I had a really, really nice day because I knew I was going to come talk to you. I was excited to come in and talk to you. I had breakfast. I always eat the same thing for breakfast, and they think that I'm like, why is this gentleman always eating the same thing? So I always eat the same thing, and then I left and I went outside.
Yeah.
And I just I took off my shoes and I just sat there on the grass, and I just closed my eyes and I could have the sun on my face, and I just kind of just let it go.
Just let it go.
With the sun.
With the sun.
That's the biggest gift that we all have.
Wow.
We all have that.
Yeah.
Whether or not the richest person or the poorest person, that's something that has been given to all of us. Just like dreams have been given to all of us. I really believe that opportunity, success, dreams are not exclusive to one group, but they're available for all of us. And if you can talk, if people understood that they can manifest their dreams, and just by just being quiet and just taking it in, I think it's a blessing. And I try to live my life that way. And that's my perfect day. It's just to kind of slow down.
When you are enjoying your day and you are completely out of the work, what is the other cultural or activity you want to do?
So I start my day every morning with, I quiet, I meditate. I try to get outside and get some sun. I'm a big believer in the sun. Okay. And then I like physical activities.
Okay.
I like to work out or to run, and I like that space time when I'm kind of by myself, because I talk to people all the time.
Yeah.
But I like the time when I'm by myself. I can just sit there, or I can do running, and I can. That's that. It's like my quiet. It's like my temple or my sanctuary. I can just be there and be quiet for a second and just take it in.
Yeah.
Because that prepares me to deal with people.
I'm feeling in my mind I'm imagining that kind of video. Yesterday I was watching of Anthony Mackie, the Sir Wilson. I was searching on YouTube and I got the video. He's preparing for war with the shield of the Captain America. And what the energy, what the motivation, and when you're telling about it, I feel like same kind of imagination. I went into that video. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So, Shan, when I look back to your journey, what are some personal values or experience that you have shaped who you are today outside your professional identity?
Well, this may sound a little strange, but I don't see my professional identity as a separate identity. My family and my parents kind of instilled in me just to be brave, even if you get it wrong, just to try and be brave. Sometimes it may be scary, but just to go, because we have this saying, what's the worst can happen? Just do it. And I didn't even choose immigration. It kind of chose me. But my professional identity as an attorney was really more about connecting with people and trying to help people and try to learn from people. I get to talk to this person. Where are you from? What is it like there? I started off doing humanitarian, helping people with asylum, and then business and all that. But I just kind of learned from people. I love to travel. I love to meet people. And so I do that in my professional life, but I also do that in my personal life. Like the guy I was playing on the rickshaw, on the tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
I was like a 15-year-old kid, a 14-year-old kid. We were just connecting, having a great day. Good. 1 hour, great day. It changed my life. Hopefully it affected his life.
Yeah.
And that same connection in that rickshaw is the same connection I have with my clients in the court. The same connection I have with my clients if I go to the boardroom at their corporation. Amazing. It's connection. Connection. That kid in Mohali, that connection. Just talk to me, son.
Yeah.
Just talk to me.
Yeah, that's great.
Just
when I go to any event, I talk to many people, and I feel that if I connect with you depth by the heart, we can go deeper, talk more and more and more. The time is no limit for me.
Yes.
So the you mentioned is that the connection we need to establish for a person is the very important.
It's the cornerstone of everything.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone of business success, education success, personal relationships.
Yeah.
It's just the connection. And I feel that sometimes when we don't connect, it's just a missed opportunity. But I know that sometimes we don't connect.
It happens many times.
Yeah, but it's a missed opportunity because someone can have something wonderful to share, or it could just be in the energy of a person.
Yeah.
In the energy of the person. So connection, and we know we're talking about very serious things like business and immigration, about very personal things, but it's kind of all the same. It's about human connection, sharing information, trying to help your fellow brother, your fellow sister. It's about humanity.
Yeah.
It's about connection. That's what it's about.
Great. Amazing, wonderful conversation with you, Shan. We have a special rapid fire round for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I don't know.
So, one dialogue here you need to tell.
Okay.
I will speak. Are you ready? You have to speak. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, H1B visa or student visa?
Both, depending on the circumstance.
Okay. Founders versus freelancer.
I'm such a lover of people who create things. I would say founder.
Founder. Okay. got my answer. US versus Canada.
I love Canada,
Oh.
and I know there's opportunity in the U.S., but I'm here in India. I'm here in India because
Okay.
there's opportunity everywhere.
Okay.
That no one has a monopoly
Okay.
on opportunity.
Next. US versus India.
I would vote for India. I would vote for India.
Okay. Another one. Risk versus safe route.
Risk every time, 100%, without a doubt.
100% agree with you. Okay. Social media or offline networking.
Everything has its value,
Yeah.
but offline networking, human connection is the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
I share one thing. I met with a potential business partner yesterday. We talked nothing about business.
Oh.
We just had lunch. He showed me Delhi. That personal human connection that's how you establish a business.
Yeah.
You have to establish the relationship between the people. So offline connection, 100%.
Music versus movies.
Music. Music.
I know. Okay. So, okay. Any 3 positive points you want to share about me?
About you.
Yeah.
When we first met, the thing that because that day I had spoken with other people, but the way that you connect, even though you were asking like very specific technical question,
Yeah.
there was something very personable and warm about just the energy, and I'm an energy person.
Yeah.
That's one. 2, the other day you shared how you got into this space, about what you were doing before and what you're doing now. And I think that's a lesson for all of us, anyone listening out there, just to follow your dreams.
Yeah.
So you demonstrated you're a man who follows their dreams, and you demonstrated you're a man that although I'm doing this work, I'm doing it with heart. Like they're not just questions, you're doing it with heart. And another thing is personal. I look forward to not just more conversations but about developing a friendship. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just a great start.
Yeah. Thank you for this compliment. Each and every single day, I learn so many things from specific any individual person, from you. I'm learning many things from you from last 2 to 3 days on virtual telephonic over here also. What is the feeling or experience do you have till now from this all conversation?
Well, I feel inspired. I feel that there'll be more conversations. I feel that we're talking about some very like practical, technical things, but I think overall we're talking about just connecting and manifesting, and like you said, have a plan and put into actions.
Yeah.
The more and more we have these conversations, the more and more it gives people an opportunity to put their plans into action. So I think you're doing a really great service to those people who are listening.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Great. Thank you for your thought, insightful learning, experience, and technicalities about immigration visa process, and the business opportunity you talk about. If the person who's watching us right now, I think many other new company or startup are raising after this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So please give us a credit.
I invite everyone just to have the conversations.
Okay.
My legal and professional suggestion and consult is to have the conversations as soon as you can.
Yeah.
It's never too late to have the conversations, but really the magic is never too early.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a thought you have, and it's just have a conversation. I've been thinking about studying in the EU. I've been thinking about studying in the US. I've been thinking about bringing my business there. Even if you're thinking about it and you haven't made those steps, have that conversation, because it can open you up to, okay, this is how I need to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I would share. Just have a conversation. Just start.
Yeah.
Like start having conversations. Hey, I want to talk to you. I had this idea. Or hey, this is what I'm doing. Can can we have a conversation? It's easy.
Great.
It's not complicated.
Great. Thank you, Shahan,
You're
for
welcome.
this. In India, I must say, namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you for watching this podcast till the end. इस पूरे podcast के अंदर, during this all the conversation, what is the most learning you heard? आप comment में हमें लिख के बताइए. And the business opportunity you want to do, a business, any business idea you have, you can let me know. For immigration, visa process or consultation, you can connect with Shan. We have shared the contact detail already in the description below. You can contact with their team. They will help you. I'm sure this entire conversation helped you so far 100%. If you feel that it is valuable, please follow us and do share what you feel right now and like this video, and share this video with your person, the contact who really need this kind of information. Thank you for watching. This is me, Rahul Gupta. मिलते हैं next video के किसी another vlog में और in another podcast. Thank you.